I'm heading off to investigate one of Mother Nature's freakiest weather events. Ice bombs. These balls of ice can reach immense proportions. Plummeting to Earth at high speed, they cause fear, devastation, and even injury. I'll track down eyewitnesses.
She said something happened upstairs. A big ball of ice came crashing through the ceiling.
I keep saying it was like a bomb went off in here.
I'll never forget that sound. I looked at Terry and I says, Terry, it's ice.
And hear theories that seem beyond belief.
I thought it was from space.
He thought it came from a plane.
When it gets to an altitude, it goes and releases the waste.
My mission is to find a scientific explanation for these extraordinary incidents. I'm starting my investigation on the east coast of America, the site of some of the most recent ice bomb events. And I've tracked down my first eyewitness, here in New York. On a clear September day in 2013, a huge ball of ice crashed onto a Brooklyn street out of nowhere, narrowly missing Krista Blasi and her baby.
My car, which was here, was parked here at the time.
Right.
And I was on this side opening the door, and my son's car seat was on this side. So I took him out, was putting him in the carriage. I was actually buckling him up, and all of a sudden, right here, I heard the crash.
A massive ice block missed Krista and her son by just a few meters.
After I heard the bang, I picked him up and I ran back in the house. I was scared.
And why were you scared? You thought it was going to happen again?
Yes.
So if it hit you?
I think it would have killed both of us instantly. It's the wave of impact, the size of it, it would have definitely killed us.
Krista and her baby had a lucky escape. If this huge chunk of ice fell from the sky in the way that she described, there's no doubt it could have proven fatal. I need to know more about this extraordinary incident.
It came down over here. The original piece was over here by the curb. And then the other piece scattered and went across the street.
That's a long way. It must have come down.
It must have been, yeah, come down.
Very, very, very fast.
Then Krista gives me a lead that could shed more light on this terrifying event. There were two other eyewitnesses. Her stepmother, Terry, and neighbor Lou were just a few meters away when this huge ice bomb struck.
Tell me what happened.
We were out on the porch, Lou and I, was like, boom.
And I'll never forget that sound. So I came off the porch, I looked down on the floor, I looked at Terry and I says, Terry, it's ice.
I would say it was about that big, between a softball and a bowling ball, and it was white.
I figured, let me pick it up. And at that point, I found it like a burning sensation.
It was not regular ice, because you could touch it, like run your finger on it, and it didn't melt.
It didn't melt when you touched it?
No, it really didn't.
Reading the news accounts of Krista's dramatic near miss, one thing struck me as odd. They all reported that the ice bomb had plummeted from clear skies.
So let me get this right. It was the afternoon, and it was a clear blue sky day.
It was 80 degrees that day. I wouldn't have took the baby out. He was still a baby. I wouldn't have took him out if it was even a little cold. So I know it was a hot day.
That's kind of the extraordinary thing about this, isn't it? That it was a clear day.
Yeah.
And so for a weather event to happen, this is probably the last thing
That's
you...
what made it so strange.
Right.
But I want to know if these three eyewitnesses have a theory as to where the ice bomb came from.
You must have talked about, I think it might have been this.
I thought it could be from space.
We didn't have any other speculations, because what are really the other choices?
This interview has left me with a nagging question. I want to find out if the ice bomb really did fall from a clear blue sky, as they say. And the US National Weather Service should be able to provide me with the weather data from that day here in Brooklyn.
Good afternoon. afternoon, National Weather Service.
Oh, hi, this is Alex Hannaford here. I am phoning to find out the weather forecast for a specific area on a specific date. It's September 4th, 2013, and it was in the Brooklyn area. I just need to kind of know what the weather forecast was for that day.
Sure. I mean, the weather forecast at that time was calling for mostly sunny skies with breezy conditions and temperatures in the lower 80s.
Temperatures in the lower 80s. Is there anything about sort of, you wouldn't know about cloud cover? It sounds like it was pretty clear that day.
The cloud cover was mostly sunny that day. We just had literally just a few cumulus clouds in the sky and a few cirrus clouds in the sky.
Wow, okay, that's perfect. Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome.
The weather data confirms the ice bomb hit Brooklyn on a warm, clear day with almost no cloud. Maybe ice bombs are not weather events at all, but something completely unrelated. I want to find more eyewitnesses, so I'm scouring the headlines in search of more clues, and I start to discover this phenomenon is much more global than I originally thought. In fact, there are reports of freak ice falling from the sky all over the world.
So this is interesting. During a 10-day period in January 2000, multiple ice balls were reported falling from clear blue skies over Spain. 50 such falls were reported, and authorities verified 9 of them.
Each of the ice bombs fell separately, tens of miles apart, and weighed about 3 kilograms, twice as heavy as the biggest hailstone on record.
The thing is far more widespread than I thought.
In just the last 10 years, well over 50 ice bombs have been reported across the globe. The largest caused huge devastation in South America.
So this is insane. There's one was found in Brazil weighing 200 kilograms. That's big enough to leave a 10-foot hole in the ground, smash the roof of a Ford Mustang, and make noises audible enough to be heard by people hundreds of feet away.
This kind of destruction demonstrates the potentially fatal consequences that these ice bombs can have. And I've just picked up a new lead of a couple who've experienced this devastation firsthand. I'm leaving New York and driving 3 hours west to Mannheim, a small town in Pennsylvania. I want to find out more about this ice bomb, one which reportedly caused actual damage to their property.
I think this is it, so let's pull in here.
Sherry and Eldon Whitmer were just a few meters away from an ice bomb when it crashed into their home in 2010.
Thanks so much for doing that.
And they have an intriguing theory as to where it came from. So this happened in 2010, so it was
Yes.
sort of 4 years ago, 5 years ago this year.
It was on Mother's Day. We were just playing video games.
Where were you guys sitting at the time?
Right here, we had 2 chairs here.
2 chairs here in front
And
of
we
the...
had, yes, in front of the
screen.
TV, yes.
And-
All of a sudden, there was this huge, loud crash.
We thought there was an accident.
And I said, oh my God, something hit the house. I saw just stuff hanging from the roof of the front porch. And we saw ice on the ground, and big pieces of ice.
Out of nowhere, a huge chunk of ice had smashed through the Whitmer's front porch.
Okay, it hit on the other side of this beam, between the beam and the spout, and came right through there.
So when you came out and you saw it, what did it look like exactly?
From the inside, you could just see trim hanging down. Then when you walked out here, you could look straight up through, to the skies.
Was it one big hole in it, or did it just blow kind of like everything
No, it was
down?
one big hole.
But you saw fragments of ice all on the...
Yeah, we saw big pieces of ice.
It was about the size of an American football, the biggest piece. And then there were several smaller pieces laying around, too.
So that's pretty big.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it was big. There's some pictures we can show you in
I'd
the
love
dining
to see
room.
them, yeah.
Okay, this is of the damage. I'm holding the ice here. That's a good way to show you.
Wow, okay, so yeah, you can see here your hands are
about this far apart,
Yeah.
and it goes all the way up here. So
I
it's a
had
big-
two pieces that were broken, you know,
Yeah.
and I put them together for him.
So it is just like an American football
Yes.
size. It
Yes.
really is.
It was white, but you could see rings in it.
As I look at the photos of the damage, one thing becomes apparent.
You know what here is interesting? Because in these photos, you can see what sort of day it was as well.
Yeah.
And the clouds there's a few clouds, but they're very, very high, mostly blue sky.
It was a gorgeous day. It was so blue, the sky. There was a light breeze going, so it made it a little cool. So that's why we were inside.
Once again, the weather suggests the ice bomb didn't fall from a cloud. But the fire chief who attended the scene had an intriguing theory as to where it had come from.
So the fire chief turns up.
Yeah.
And what did he say he thought it was?
He thought it came from a plane.
When it gets to certain altitude, it goes and releases the waste.
From the toilets?
Yes.
So essentially, and then that freezes as it
That
comes
freezes
down?
as it comes
That's what he
down.
told you?
That's what he told us.
Right.
He said he's never seen it before, but he has heard of it.
I don't think that a plane would release their waste over a populated. I thought they'd probably do that at the airport, you know. But I thought, you know, it could have came from a plane. It could have been ice that built up on the wings and then broke off. You know, that would seem to make sense. We knew it had to be moving pretty fast for the amount of damage it had done. Person had been walking outside, you wouldn't stand a chance.